So, welcome to the Kickass Midlife Method. I'm Rachel, and I'm joined by some of the women in the Kickass Midlife Method community. So, today's podcast is on transforming your nutrition mindset. So, it's kind of this one-step mind shift that can help transform everything. So, who here listening in has been on a diet and struggled in the past with things? Give me a 2 in the chat if you have. So what we're really discussing here is particularly in hormone change, like in your 40s, 50s, 51 is normally the average age of going through the menopause, coming out the other side. But change starts to happen from like 40, sometimes earlier, in terms of your hormones changing. So when it comes to restrictive dieting, that restrictive calorie, then that is really detrimental to our bodies at this time of life in particular, aside from earlier in life when it's actually quite boring as well. So estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone begin to fluctuate from the age of 40. So what happens often, as I've mentioned in many podcasts before, is it can lead to increased fat storage due to the effect of needing somewhere to produce estrogen. So if we're really stressed, sometimes our adrenal glands are overloaded, and therefore where our ovaries start to not produce estrogen, adrenal glands start doing it. And then when that can't happen because we're really stressed sometimes, what the body does is store it in your belly, because your belly fat produces a bit of estrogen. So you can end up increased fat storage. We're losing muscle mass all the time. And as I'm sure you all have experienced, you get lower energy. So as our muscle mass decreases, if we're not replacing it with resistance exercise and the right foods, we also have less metabolic tissue. So what I mean by that is your muscle tissue is really active all the time. So even when you're sitting around, you're burning energy when you have more muscle. So if you lose muscle and increase fat, then your metabolism slows down even faster. So things like your juice fasts, your extreme calorie restriction, which is not the same as anything that we do in our program, is counterproductive because we're already fighting a metabolic slowdown, and then you're asking your body to not eat enough, so therefore your body is again going to slow down even more because it wants to hold on to the calories that it is getting. So the mindset shift that I want you all to be thinking about is around how your body needs different nutrients, focused around actually supporting your muscle retention and growth if you're doing resistance exercise, your bone health and your energy. So instead of thinking about this deprivation, elimination, restriction, the most powerful change you can start thinking about is nourishment. What am I eating that is nourishing my body? Every meal that you have, your breakfast, your lunch, your dinner, your snacks, is it nourishing me? So it's like looking at the old diet mindset versus the nourishment mindset. So your old diet mindset would have been, restriction, calorie, real restriction. You're avoiding bad foods, eliminating carbs, all that kind of thing. Whereas your mindset that I want you to think about now is your nourishment mindset, adding nutrient-dense foods that fuel and support your brain. So your brain, your energy, and your muscle retention. So, when you're sitting at work sometimes and you get that kind of slump at 3 or 4 o'clock, often that's because you actually just haven't got enough food to fuel your brain working. So I'm sure we've all heard of a fixed mindset and growth mindset, particularly around business and work, but it's very similar when we're talking about nutrition as well. So you want to be thinking of your food as a way to fuel and support your hormones, energy levels, and muscle retention. So you're balancing satisfaction and health, not restriction and guilt. So practical tips, which I'm sure a lot of you listening on here now know about, always wanting to be prioritizing your lean protein to support muscle retention. So we're talking about, really for most of you, I say 30 grams of protein per meal. Most women have problems at breakfast getting 30 grams in. So you're thinking about maybe your 15 at breakfast and then 2 snacks of 7-8 grams for snacks, and then a lunch and a dinner. Focusing on those healthy fats. So healthy fats are things like olive oil, avocados, nuts, seeds. They are helping to balance your hormones and support brain health, your joints, all of those kind of things. Eating the rainbow, so colourful fruits and vegetables. So every meal you should be thinking about, have I got fruit and vegetables? So you look at your plate or your dish and think, oh, that's really nice. That's like looking at a magazine spread of food, like some cookery spread. I actually really want to eat that because it looks so nice. And then thinking about carbs and not the enemy, there's still this like overriding narrative around carbs. Carbs are not the enemy. You need carbs to do your workouts. You need carbs to move around. But what you really need are slow release carbs. You only need fast release carbs if you're somebody who's training for marathons, half marathons, those kind of real sports specific things where you need those fast release carbs to give you energy quickly. If you're having a fast release carb and then sitting down to work the rest of the day, then that will go straight into fat storage because you're not going to burn it. And then staying hydrated. I say I'm going to sip my water as I've got dry mouth. Staying hydrated, herbal teas, water to help with your energy, mental clarity, and also been discussing this with someone today to help with your bloating. So if you're constantly bloated, that can often be because maybe you've got water retention from salt, so you just need to flush everything out. So taking that into practical, what can you do? So as I was saying before, when you're looking at your plates of food, thinking about what you're eating, instead of thinking, oh, have I got the right amount of calories on this? Literally, almost everybody in my program, in fact, everyone in my program, will lose weight if you just focus on looking at your plate and thinking in this mindset, am I eating something that is going to nourish my body? Is it going to give me keep me calm, so it's not going to make me feel really manic and then the next minute feel really tired? Is it going to keep me calm? Is it going to make me feel like I can function properly, my brain's working properly? Is it going to help to protect my bones? Am I going to get maintain my muscles so actually I can move around when I'm older, when I can move around now properly and lift heavier and increase my muscle mass? And then thinking about overcoming barriers. So the typical barriers that I come across with women are that fixed mindset of previous diet failures, where you say, people say to themselves, I'm a failure, I actually can't do diets, I'm useless at it, I can't do it, to one of thinking, I can nourish my body, and I can do it by being sustainable and making these switches. And each time I fall back, maybe I'm thinking about, well, all I have to think about is I need to nourish my body. Let's get back on to thinking in that mindset and switching from the now, which often lots of people have, because old-fashioned diet methodology was all about quick fixes, which I'm sure, how many of you have done quick fixes in your 20s, 30s, and it worked? Maybe put a 3 in the chat if you've done that. I'm sure lots of us have, and it's switching from that mindset, which that kind of methodology, which doesn't actually work anymore for us anyway, and also trying to get out of that all or nothing mindset where it's like, I want it to happen now, and I'm just going to spend 28 days doing it, and then I'm going to forget about it and go back to how I was. You want to be switching into, what can I do to sustain my healthy nourishment for the rest of my life? And then there's the other thing I hear a lot of, I don't have time to cook. I don't have time to do it. You have in the Kickass Midlife Method community, lots of recipes, particularly if you join my WhatsApp recipe group recently. And we all have time. It's not that nobody has the time. It's that often we don't prioritize the importance of our nutrition. You know, your nutrition and your movement are the most important things for your health and the longevity of your life. The most important thing if you've got kids, so that you're around for your kids. So it's actually about prioritizing a little bit more rather than getting into that mindset of thinking, I don't have time, because we all do. And then the other mindset is it's too late. It's absolutely never too late to start something. I don't know whether she's here. I've got someone who is 65 and in the past has shared that she has done, you know, more calorie restriction, and for her, she's kind of completely begun to change that mindset and is completely transforming her body at 65. So it is never too late to learn new things, have a growth mindset, whether that's growth mindset around your education, around your work, and around your nutrition. And also focus on that it's not about being perfect. You know, you can't always get everything right all the time, but it's not about throwing it. You know, if you've got kids who can't do something at first and they just give up, you would never say, oh, okay, it's fine, just give it up. You'd be like, you just have to try again. It's about progress. And for your nutrition, in that developing that mindset, it's about making small nourishing changes that add up over time. You'll see the results. And each time you make that effort to look at your plate, which is partly why I get you guys in the Kickass Midlife Method to photograph your food. It's not just about thinking about doing it for me. It's about giving you pause as you photograph it. Has it got all those three things on? Just giving you that moment to think, I'm just going to check, okay, I could probably do with a bit more greens on there. Let me put a bit more greens on there. Maybe I'll put a few more seeds on there for a bit of healthy fats, those kind of things. And really, you know, getting that drilled into your head until eventually it becomes kind of natural for you to do it without thinking. So has anyone got any kind of questions around that? That you want to come on to talk about or ask me in the group chat. So I'm sure that we've all had done a very restrictive diets in the past. Do you think, give me a kind of 4 in the chat, whether you think that you are nailing the nourishment mindset already? I know some of you definitely are. I've got 2 people who are not yet. Switching to nutritious rather than counting every calorie is such a positive mood. Yeah. Yeah, Kate, I think you are. I think I've mentioned this before, but it's worth mentioning again because some of you are kind of new, is that Susie is on this chat and Ingrid is not on this chat. Since joining me over a year ago, have never counted calories. All they've done is taken their photographs and used my recipes and have created huge changes in their body shape, strength, muscle mass, all of that. And all they do is stick to this kind of nourishment mindset, looking at, you know, what foods are on their plate will nourish rather than kind of undermine your energy. So, you know, for everything that's not quite nutritious, really what you're doing is like undermining your energy, you're undermining your ability to sleep as well, you're undermining your ability to think clearly. Occasional snack problem in the evening. Yeah. Well, it's not having an occasional, it's not a snack problem. It's just, it can be, try not to think of it as a problem, rather than what can you also have as a snack that nourishes your body as well. You know, there has been things said about dark chocolate, of course. So there are things that you can have. Dark chocolate is really good for the body, in moderation, obviously. Gemma, your question is, what's your view of a treat meal in the week? Well, I think what going back to the nourishment mindset, what is a treat meal? I mean, when you're thinking about what is nourishing my body, then I think that um, that is kind of a treat. I mean, are you thinking about, if you're thinking something like a pizza, then what I would say, for example, let's take a pizza. If you're going to have something like a pizza, then you think, okay, well, if I have a pizza, can I also get on that pizza or in that wherever you go and have the pizza, can I also have some other things that do tick the box in terms of nourishing? For instance, can you have half the pizza if you're going out with someone? Can you have half the pizza and then have a really nice salad from the same restaurant that you split half and half, for instance? Or, for me, in terms of a treat day or meal in the week, I go out to restaurants and I order whatever I want off the restaurant, but most of the times they fit completely the nourishment mindset. So that'd be my view on that. Always starving when I get home from work. Always starving when I get home from work. Liz, you need to do the protein shake at 3 or 4 o'clock, or have the protein shake as soon as you get home, and that will prevent you snacking as you're making dinner. So I would always, who give me a 5 in the chat if you are not yet doing a protein shake every day. Anyone? Yeah, yeah. So in terms of sweet snacks, actually, as Kate said, there are some recipes, almond and raisin cookies, and also in my October one, there is a kind of healthy tiramisu little pot that's coming your way as well. What else? What else? I've been asked. Chocolate, if you dark chocolate, then don't buy a big bar. Go and get the green and blacks mini bars, for instance. I agree. I can't have a big bar of chocolate in the house, otherwise I'll eat it. So if you know those things, then switch to something else, and definitely have a look at those recipes that will be coming your way probably next week. Gemma, I like the Pizza Express pizza with something in the middle filled with salads. I'm not quite sure. I would also say, just think about, if you're going to go out, think about the restaurants that you go out to. If some pizza places, for instance, don't do as quite as healthy as pizzas as some others, don't go to that one, go to somewhere else. Vegetarian if eating out, 5. So all those people with 5 are not yet having their protein shake. That's a not. That's a not. That's a not. Yes. Okay. So anybody not having a protein shake every day now, you should have a protein shake every day. Ordinarily, mostly because you won't be having enough protein without it. So that's going to impact your muscle maintenance. Number 2 is normally at 2 to 4 o'clock, we start getting tired. Actually, that tiredness is lack of food. If you have the protein shake, I've been doing it for well over 18 months now, and I absolutely can guarantee you that when I miss it because I forget, that's when I'll snack. So it absolutely works. So if you want this to work, do the stuff that's part of the Kickass Midlife Method. Are the protein shakes in the email? They are indeed in the email, Jackie. Yes. Protein, the recipes arrive, Gemma. They're normally always put in the group or direct message to people in my premium group. So you won't have got them because you're on a 6-week program. Yeah. Any other questions? So yeah, I hope that you all go away and really have a think about that kind of changing your mindset, because if you can change your mindset from all thinking about I can't have this, I can't, I must miss this out, like, to I can have this. I'm going to try this. I'm going to have a really massive plate of food with all the nutritious macronutrients on it. If all of you just did that without even thinking about, your tracking your calories, you would all reach your goals. So just have a think about that, and try to avoid thinking about elimination and deprivation and what you can't have. Think about actually expanding your horizons, your dietary horizons, trying the new recipes that you get in the group, or what the macronutrients are. So all of you know now that it's what a lean protein is, what a healthy fat is, what a slow release carb is. What I often do is I'm terrible for like looking at restaurant menus, and I will just go and photograph a restaurant menu outside the restaurant or inside, and then I'll just go and make the equivalent of whatever I've spotted on the recipe, and just maybe change a couple of things to make it fit. So explore cooking as well, I would say. Seeds on salad, roasted broccoli tonight, chicken and feta and spinach, and it's